The Trump campaign's strategy of division. A detailed analysis of its effectiveness and consequences. Introduction. Donald Trump's political campaigns, particularly in 2016 and 2020, employed a strategy that capitalized on existing societal divisions and deepened them for electoral gain. While racial, economic, and gender divides have long been present in American society, Trump's rhetoric and policies exacerbated these divisions, pitting various racial and socio-economic groups against each other. This document analyzes the mechanisms behind this strategy, its effectiveness, and the winners and losers under Trump's policies, with particular attention to the consequences of rolling back diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, programs and broader societal impacts. Pre-existing divisions and Trump's amplification. Before Trump's entry into politics, various segments of American society already harbored tensions. 1. Black versus white. Historical racial conflicts dating back to slavery, Jim Crow, and systemic racism. 2. Native Americans versus settler colonists. Ongoing battles over land rights, sovereignty, and historical injustices. 3. Jewish versus Palestinian, Arab communities, a microcosm of the global Middle Eastern conflict within the U.S., especially among politically engaged groups. 4. Hispanic, Latino versus white, black communities, competition for jobs and political representation, with Latinos sometimes resenting policies perceived to favor African Americans, and vice versa. 5. Asian versus other minority groups. The model minority stereotype positioned Asians against black and Hispanic communities, while resentment grew due to perceived advantages in education and business opportunities. 6. Economic classes. Poor versus working class versus middle class versus wealthy. Trump fueled working class resentment toward minorities and immigrants. 7. Men versus women. Gender equality movements, Me Too, feminist policies, were framed as attacks on traditional masculinity. Additionally, there is a growing sentiment that the older black population in poor communities are part of America's economic stagnation, further fueling class-based tensions. Trump's campaign strategically weaponized this perception to further divide these groups. How the Trump campaign fueled these divisions. 1. Rhetoric and media manipulation. Use of slogans. "Make America Great Again" was coded language that implied returning to a pre-civil rights era, appealing to white, working-class voters. Demonization of immigrants. Depicting Hispanics as rapists and criminals, and labeling COVID-19 as the China virus, stoked anti-Latino and anti-Asian sentiments. Black Lives Matter versus Blue Lives Matter. Trump positioned himself as the defender of law enforcement while characterizing BLM protests as riots, alienating white and black working-class individuals from each other. Wedge issues among minorities. He capitalized on divisions within racial groups, such as black conservatives opposing progressive black activism or Asian Americans feeling sidelined by affirmative action policies favoring black and Hispanic individuals. Targeting Palestinians and Latinos. For Trump, Trump's policies directly impacted both groups. Many Latinos supported Trump despite increased deportations. Similarly, Palestinians who backed Trump now face the reality of his vision to transform their homeland into a Las Vegas-style real estate investment, furthering economic and territorial instability. 2. Policy-driven division. Immigration restrictions. Policies such as family separations at the border deepened Hispanic alienation but solidified white and some Asian support. Affirmative action rollbacks. This disproportionately hurt black and Hispanic communities while benefiting white and Asian Americans competing for academic and job opportunities. Tax cuts. Benefited the wealthy, disproportionately white, while increasing the economic strain on working-class individuals of all backgrounds. COVID-19 response. Encouraging distrust of public health initiatives disproportionately hurt black and Latino communities, which had higher mortality rates. Economic disenfranchisement. The targeting of poor and older black populations through economic policies led to further stagnation in urban and marginalized communities, intensifying class resentment. 3. DEI rollback and its consequences. Who benefited? The removal of DEI programs was framed as targeting black Americans but ultimately weakened the positions of white women, Hispanics, Asians, and Native Americans as well. Who lost? Black individuals, as DEI had provided opportunities in corporate and academic spaces. White women, who were a major beneficiary group of DEI policies. Hispanic and Asian professionals, who saw hiring initiatives that benefited them disappear. Native Americans, who lost corporate and academic advancement opportunities. Who truly won? White men under 40, who now face fewer DEI-driven hiring barriers in corporate America, leading to a faster rise into executive roles. When will America stop falling? The economic decline, increasing societal division, and lack of upward mobility have fueled broader questions about America's future. Trump's policies, while providing short-term gains to certain groups, have exacerbated long-term instability. The continued exploitation of racial, economic, and gender divisions prevents any real progress, ensuring that marginalized communities remain stagnant while those in power consolidate their influence. Without systemic change, America's decline will persist, driven by policies that prioritize corporate interests and elite power structures over genuine equality and opportunity. Effectiveness of Trump's strategy. 1. Electoral success. His ability to mobilize resentment led to victories in 2016 and strong voter turnout in 2020. 2. Media dominance. He controlled the national conversation by pitting different groups against one another. 3. Long-term damage. While effective for electoral purposes, these divisions led to increased racial animosity, economic disparity, and distrust in institutions. Conclusion: Trump's campaign strategies leveraged pre-existing divisions and amplified them for political gain, leaving behind a legacy of deeper societal fractures. His policies, particularly the rollback of DEI, disproportionately harmed many of the groups he had turned against each other, with the primary beneficiaries being young white men in executive positions. Latinos and Palestinians who initially supported Trump are now facing the consequences of his policies, from mass deportations to land seizures for private investment. The long-term consequences of this strategy continue to play out in America's political and social landscape, demonstrating the powerful but destructive effects of division as a political tool.